My name is Steve Smith. This is TQA Weekly. And if ever you have any questions, comments, suggestions for topics, email me at ask@tqaweekly.com. Go to my website, tqaweekly.com. You can interact with others on this episode, past others, find other ways of subscribing, and of course, contact me using the contact form directly. And if you are already on YouTube, you know what to do. The comments box is actually down below. Everything that you hear about in this show is going to be in the description down below. If you download this podcast as part of something from iTunes or somewhere else, go to tqaweekly.com/se6ep45 to head to the show notes directly. And of course, if you want to make this show better, go to patreon.com/tqaweekly. Patrons get these episodes 24 to 48 hours in advance of everyone else. And today I'm going to be talking about augmented reality. Not because I spent the last week playing Pokémon Go. I have a dog to walk. So, you know what? It gives me something to do while I'm walking my dog. But because this is touted as one of the more popular augmented reality games where pretty much anybody can play using their own smartphone, which, by the way, is actually a completely feasible and, by definition, good way of playing this kind of game, because it includes geocaching as well as using the camera lens to actually find a Pokemon in the real world. So, let's talk about augmented reality for a second. And then you'll understand why Microsoft is not actually wrong when it comes to the HoloLens, or even a modified version of Google Glass would have been cool for this, when it comes to making this game better. And we're going to do it step by step until a final progression into what I will determine as being a guess of what the future will look like for soldiers and police officers as well as other people. So first, augmented reality is different from virtual reality by the fact that it does not change the environment. It merely overlays images and information that can be defined as hologram-like or statistically relevant to the situation type of information, whether it be level of oxygen, thermal information, coordinates, as well as visual representation on a map. All that kind of information can be useful. The overlay information images can be used with sensors to provide statistics, sensor information, reference aids, and coordinates. But it can be for anything. The sensors that aid with augmented reality, by the way, can be of any type whatsoever. If you can conceive of it and find some way of overlaying this information, whether textually or graphically in front of the user, allowing them to see the actual environment as well as the visual representation of the information being superimposed, then it is still part of the definable aspect of augmented reality. And the task of augmented reality can be used for work, play, and personal reasons, as well as being inputted with artificial information to aid in such things as training exercises, which, by the way, you did see before in the movie Halo 4 Forward Unto Dawn. Yes, the AR equipment can be handheld, head-mounted, a fixed display, cars and airplanes, and can be a combination of these tools at the same time. So there is nothing preventing, let's say, a pilot from having information on his arm, in his eye, and on the front of his aircraft, which, by the way, does actually happen in the military. Having multiple different types of sensor information displays does make various battlefields far more accessible to soldiers in a safer way, as well as allowing them to see different hostiles before actually getting hit themselves. Now, using a Microsoft HoloLens with a phone would actually achieve the same thing. We can have the cameras and video input, allowing us to see the objectives, in this case, Pokemon. Somebody please send me a link to understand what the hell is going on with this game. And the handheld showing me information for the navigation of the map, which, of course, because it is geocaching, allows for coordinate information to be stored inside the peripheral view of the user, as well as having, the actual map of you within eyeshot. Not to mention that deploying it this way would have made it safer for people across the street. Not to mention that would prevent them from having some sort of neck injury related to them looking down all the time. Obviously, we can do a lot with augmented reality because of all the sensor information and inputs that can be applied to any different part of the body or vehicle around you, as long as it's capable of being used to see into the real world. So to be honest, while we're wowing at this game, we should be wowing at the fact that this game is capable of even deploying even a marginal amount of this kind of technology, because other applications can include cameras that record situations for soldiers, police officers, with sensors that can detect any weapons, allowing for more meaningful, more accurate, and less dangerous situations that not only protect the wearer but ultimately the people around them. What I am saying is, like I just said, you can input any amount of sensors into the peripheral image of or peripheral view of the user, allowing them to see the real world as well as superimposed information. Imagine being able to detect weapons on hostiles before they know you know the weapon is there, being able to point your gun and not fire by accident into somebody running into the way of the bullet, not to mention having smarter bullets, which are currently apparently being developed. But imagine being able to lift your gun and finally only being able to fire on a hostile person. Not only will casualties for non-hostile people actually be diminished to virtually zero, but even the most racist person could not fire on a non-hostile person. Meaning much of the bullshit that we have been seeing in the US and abroad will no longer exist, because you know what? At the end of the day, while people scream that we're going to have some sort of Terminator event with all of this more artificial intelligence propagating, augmented reality is cool for gaming, cool for work, and makes everybody safer when it's applied to war. I want to know what you think will happen with augmented reality in the future in the comments box down below if you're on YouTube, or go to tqaweekly.com/se6ep45 and leave the comments on that page as well. And of course, don't forget to like, dislike, share, and of course, subscribe if you haven't already done so. And if you want to get future episodes like others 24 to 48 hours in advance of everyone else, so that you can put your comment in first, go to patreon.com/TQA Weekly, and thank you in advance.